Now, on Friday, healthcare workers and journalists gathered at Sea Point in Cape Town to demand an end to the killing of their counterparts in Gaza. Newzroom Afrika's Yazeed Kamaldien was there.
The killing of healthcare workers and journalists by the Israeli army is being used as a weapon of war in Gaza. This is the view of Dr. Aisha Soni, a neurologist at Groote Hospital in Cape Town. She was part of an interfaith vigil held in Cape Town to mourn medics and reporters killed in Gaza. Dr. Soni says healthcare workers have debated whether they should speak up against Israel.
It has been an issue that has been debated, especially by countries who are supportive of Israel and the Zionist regime's actions. It has always been propagated that healthcare workers should not take any stance in a war situation. However, I think we are way beyond that. What's happening in Israel, the numerous international laws, the active targeting of healthcare facilities, of healthcare workers. We've seen 340 healthcare workers, which includes 118 doctors, that have been killed just since the 7th of October, and that has been documented. I think we are way beyond our ethical and moral obligation. We have to stand with our colleagues and we have to talk against what's actually going on and how it's actually unacceptable, and how healthcare and the targeting of healthcare is being used as a weapon by Israel in this war.
A former South African ambassador to the US was a guest speaker at the interfaith vigil. He says Washington would always favor Israel over Palestine.
The US policy has been very consistent. It will always take Israel's side. It will invoke the responsibility to protect and go and bomb Gaddafi in order to protect Libyans against Gaddafi, but it will not do the same thing when Palestinians' lives are at stake. And so the United States has what I call a triple bypass for the Muslim world. It is a bypass of democracy, of human rights, and of freedom. For them, their interests in the Middle East are more important than their values that they cherish at home.
Meanwhile, the South African government has filed an urgent application against Israel at the International Court of Justice. Rasool says this was aimed at stopping Israel from attacking the Palestine enclave.
We are busy counting lives that are lost, and we must do so. And we are mourning every life that is lost. But whatever the outcome of it, there's only one outcome that Zionism and Netanyahu, and maybe with the backing of the United States and all of them want. They want Gaza depopulated. They want the West Bank confined to certain homelands. And therefore, the only way to stop this is what South Africa has done, and that is to take this matter to the International Criminal Court, to make the charge of war crimes, but we can't go empty-handed. And that's why my call here was, let us mobilize around the President's presentation of those charges to the ICC. Let us get the evidence. Let us get health workers across the world, particularly in Gaza, not only to look after the immediate lives of people, but let us find the evidence of white phosphorus that was used. Let us find whether these were the high-velocity bullets that were being used, because that's outlawed in war. Let us see whether this was shrapnel that was just invisible to people, that just maimed and killed them, because that's outlawed in war. Let us hear how people were tortured when they were abducted and detained by Israel, because those are the things that are outlaws. And so we can't just be the mourners at the gravesite. We can't just be the dispensers of health. We've got to be the gatherers of evidence if we are going to stop the Israel bully in its tracks.
People who joined the interfaith vigil and protest say they wanted to show solidarity with Palestinians.
It is important for me to come here because those are my brothers and sisters in Palestine, regardless of religion, regardless of race, regardless of anything, because I am a human being. They're all human beings. It's our world. We live in it together. If they're going to bleed, I'm going to bleed with them. They're going to cry, I'm going to cry with them. Their pain affects me. I may not be physically there, but my heart is there with them, and it will always be. It's showing us that this world still has hope. It doesn't matter of none of this. They're all doing this for one single cause, and that's to stop a genocide happening. To stop not just a religion, to stop a culture, a nation from being wiped off the earth because of racist, selfish people.
I came here because I want to support people, becoming aware of this problem, that innocent people and people of healthcare that are important to our society are being killed. And I'm glad that the awareness is being spreading, especially this year. And most of the information I get through social media, and I try to get it from the journalists who are there themselves, and not just sources that are on the other side of the world. I think that is one positive thing that social media has given us. I feel like it's the first time that we have our eyes directly on what is happening and seeing it from the people who are there. And I mean, it is incredibly emotional to put yourself in those shoes, and that is provoking people to rethink how they are seeing what's happening.
For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Yazeed Kamaldien in Cape Town.